So have you ever worked really hard on a design, you have it ship into market, and then nothing really happens with it? Maybe the data falls flat, or there aren't really the outcomes and the metrics that you're looking for. And then in your design review with your manager, you hear the words, you need to be more strategic, or you need to think about design more strategically, and you have no idea what to do? I'm James from Design Kindly, and I am a senior design and product leader with over 10 years of experience. And this channel is designed to help young designers, or those even earlier in their career, help answer that dreaded question of how they can be more strategic. My goal is to help each and every single one of you move from being a design ticket taker into a strategic design partner so your work can have the impact it needs to have, and you can also more quickly build your career. So how can you answer this question and be much more effective? Well, over my years of experience and over growing and also learning from my own mistakes and watching others stumble along their ways, what I've learned that is important is to think about your work from an outcomes perspective, a behavior perspective, and a scale perspective. By thinking through all your design work from what outcomes it's trying to achieve, what behaviors you're trying to change from your users, and also at what scale you're designing for, you'll be able to effectively communicate your design work and finally get those smiles around the room that we all look for from our directors and managers. All right, so what is the OBS system? Well, the OBS Check stands for three things: outcomes, behaviors, and scale. What outcomes really mean is what is the impact of the work, what is the impact of the design, and it's really clear that you connect your design work to those specific outcomes. So what we often focus on when we're junior designers is the output. Hey, I created this Figma file. It's pretty, isn't it gorgeous? And you're gonna get a lot of nods around the room, but what you're probably gonna see is that your work doesn't really go anywhere. So what's really important whenever you start a design project, when you identify a design problem, and you're also working through the process of presenting your work, you have to describe what is the outcome you're trying to impact. That could be CSAT, client satisfaction, that could be your net promoter score, but really it's even better to connect it to something deeper within the business. What most businesses and organizations ultimately care about is top line revenue or bottom line productivity. So what you really want to be able to champion or communicate is how your design work will ultimately, for example, help drive more sales. How will it help drive more curiosity, discovery, or adoption of new products and services by customers? Conversely, you can also think about your design work in helping drive some productivity. If more users self-serve because my design is so beautiful, will that help drive down some operating costs? Will it help reduce call center costs? So again, these are the critical outcomes that most businesses are looking for. You have to really be able to talk about your design work vis-a-vis how it's going to empower those outcomes. So then we move on to the next check. After O comes B. What does B mean? B stands for behaviors. So even though we've identified the outcomes in our first step, what we want to really then be able to get to at that next layer down is the behaviors that we're changing within our users or our customers that help drive those outcomes. So for example, let's say you're working in a bank, a financial institution, or a company that's focused on e-commerce. What you want to be able to show is that by shifting a design or improving it, you can prove through your testing that client behavior is more likely to shift towards more frequent buying, reduced drop-off, or easier completion of those key processes. That way, when you communicate your work, you can say, this is our new design. We've seen reduced friction for the client, so they're more likely to complete their sale or their transaction, and therefore we can believe that our top-line revenue is going to go up. Being able to connect your design to a change in client behavior or customer behavior and how that impacts the outcome is another really strategic and important way to communicate your work. And people are going to really be able to understand why your work is valuable and how you're connected to the broader system at large. In the last part of our system, we are talking about S, which really stands for scale. And the reason scale is really important to think about in your design work is because it really then includes how you communicate it, but also how long you really need to talk about it. So as a designer, you may know you sometimes get asked to work on something pretty small. So for example, if you're working on a payment process, for example, you may be asked just to fix one screen in a flow of 3 or 4 or 5. Because your scale is smaller, what you're probably going to want to acknowledge in your work and with your manager or your director is that you don't necessarily need a lot of time to do it, that we're not going to focus too much on the broader strategy, And really, maybe what we want to communicate is that though we are changing some level of behavior and impacting outcomes, it's a small project, it's not going to take a lot of work, and maybe we shouldn't really take too much time talking about it. Rather, if you're working at a platform level, where maybe you're designing a capability that multiple users are going to use, and multiple people are going to leverage to complete their work, for example, like a banking hub, that's where you want to be able to talk about how you may need more time and resources to be able to complete that work, and really show your managers and show the team around you that you know how to think about design work and know how to request resources in a way that actually matches your scale. And so by being able to reflect back to your team how you think about scale and how far-reaching your design work is going to have impact is another really critical way to show that you have leadership potential and that you can also think strategically. So understanding your outcomes, understanding the behaviors that you're changing, and understanding the scale that you're designing for, or OBS for short, is a really easy way to think about your design work and how you're going to communicate its impact when you're about to present it. Always coming back to this OBS system, I find for myself and my team, is a really easy way to communicate to senior leaders, but really also show folks that you know what you're talking about. So again, the next time when you take on a net new project, try this for yourself. Number one, think about the outcome. So ask yourself, what number are we trying to move? What outcome am I impacting? And when I think about this design, what key business metric am I going to shift? Then think about behavior. In order for that metric or that number to shift, what is the behavior change in our users that I'm looking for? How am I going to test my design so I can effectively show that this user behavior has changed? And the third thing to ask yourself is scale. Am I designing at a very micro flow level, in which case I don't need to design for as long and I don't need to ask for as many resources? Or am I designing at a platform and product scale level, in which case I'm going to need to ask for more resources, I'm going to need to manage timelines with my counterparts, and I'm also going to have to be very careful about the impact I have, because it is going to impact quite a few people in the business and circles. So asking yourselves those questions and following this OBS system is a great way to ensure that not only are you showing up more strategic in your organization and your team, but that your design actually has results and impacts the business. So what I would encourage you to do is this week, pick a project that you've just started or even already working on and run through this checklist for yourself. Write down these questions, write down the answers, and rehearse it a little bit. So the next time you're at a stand-up or a check-in or a one-on-one, you'll be able to talk about this with confidence and effectively. And if you try it and you get stuck, don't worry, that's actually a signal. Maybe you don't have all the data you need to talk about it effectively. And take that blocker and that challenge with your manager, and I guarantee you they'll be really impressed with how you show up, and you're gonna make a lot more progress than you would have otherwise. And if you try this process and you get stuck, don't be afraid. That's not failure, that's a signal. It may mean you actually don't have enough information to frame your work more strategically. So what I recommend you do is actually take that blocker, take the questions you've asked yourself, take where you are stuck, and actually go to your manager and review it together. Work with them and say, hey, I've been trying to think about this a bit more strategically. I've been trying to tie it to outcomes, but I don't have this piece of information. Or is there a business partner I should talk to be able to better understand the problem at hand? I will say, as a person who has led design teams, big and small, over the past 10 years, that makes it so much easier to find high performers and really help nurture their growth. So give these things a shot. If you get stuck, if you succeed, drop a comment below, let us know how it went for you, and share some stories of success and challenges, because ultimately, we're all trying to grow as designers together. So thanks for watching this video. If you like it, please subscribe, as we're trying to grow this channel together. If you have any thoughts about anything you want to hear about from a senior leader, any questions, please leave them in the comments below. We're always looking for feedback. I'm James from Design Kindly. I want to help young designers become more strategic and achieve their impact goals. And thanks for watching.